So now, see, when we talk about the Badu, as I've said, it is an intermediate state, like past and the future, and also it is like this or that. It's neither this, neither nor that. So in the middle, which talks about. And if you talk about what we mean by Badu, so as per my understanding, the confusion state is a Badu. So therefore, any sentient beings who are in a confusing state, it is known as a Badu. Yes, brother, you can go on translating.
So when
you talk about the Badu, then there are actually 6 kinds of Badu talking here. The first is the natural Badu of birth, and the second is the Badu of dreaming, and third is the Badu of meditation, concentration, the Badu of death, and the Badu of innate nature, and the Badu of becoming.
那中音呢有分成6种中音。那首先呢是生的中音，生出来的中音；第二是梦中音；第三是禅修的中音，或者是三摩地中音。接着呢就是第4个呢就是死的中音，临终中音，还有第5个呢是法性中音，第6个是有中音。
And when we talk about the natural Badu of birth, it includes once you enter into the mother's womb until you die. So in between, these are all in the Badus. It comes of the Badu of birth. And also the Badu of dreaming and Badu of meditative concentration also comes under the category of the first Badu, that is the natural Badu of birth.
那生的中音呢，就可以是从我们刚入母胎开始至我们死亡。那所以说它也包括了梦中音跟禅修中音，或者是说三摩地中音。
So when we talk about the natural Badu of birth, then it comes birth, old age, sickness, death, and all this, the suffering of the sentient beings, it comes. And also when you talk about the Badu of dreaming, that means when you sleep, you dream of the illusion, which is not actually there. But we grasp to the dream, and we take the dream as the real. And in the dream also we suffer. And in the same way, during the daytime, when we are alive or when we are awaking also, it's like a dream. It's like a daydream, because we think, we fixate things and events that actually exist from its own side, which is actually the illusion state. But we don't understand that is the illusion state, but we think that actually things and events exist outside us, and substantially true. So therefore, this kind of grasping, this kind of fixation is also a state, comes under the category of the state of Badu.
所以我们生的中音呢，我们很清楚的知道我们有生老病死。那 这当中呢，我们也包括了我们的梦的中音。那在梦境当中，我们其实所见的、所闻的呢，所感受的呢，全部都是迷乱的一种幻象而已它不实在，不真的有，但我们却把梦当成是真的，那使到我们受痛苦。那同样的，当我们醒的时候呢，我们也执着外在的情器世界，把它们当成实有。那因为这种执着呢，使得我们产生了痛苦啊、所以这也是中因。
So now, then it comes like a meditative concentration, the body of meditative concentration during the time when you are being born as a human being. In between, you do some kind of meditation practice. And this is also a meditative concentration of body. And this is also belongs to in the category of natural birth of body. And during this meditative concentration, we are free from most people are on the positive side, positive aspect of the bardo. So therefore, this bardo also comes under the category of the natural bardo of birth.
那当我们禅修的时候，当我们做一些梦的时候呢，我们没有执着的时候呢，那其实这种是一种正面的正面的一个中因。
So therefore, sometimes we count as the natural birth of birth, birth of dreaming, and birth of meditative concentration in one category, and birth of death and birth of innate nature in one category, and birth of becoming in another category. So three kind of births. This is how we talk about the three kind of births.
那我们中音呢，则可以分为生的中音我们可以把中音分成三个。那第一个呢，就是生的中音，当然也包括了梦的中音跟禅修的中音。那第二呢，则是临终的中音，那和那个法性中音。第三呢，则是要投生下一世的有中音。
So now here we come to the bardo of death. So why is it so important to talk about the bardo of death now? It is because if we don't talk about the death, people will not understand or try to do something, prepare something for the death. We would never know the death is there. For example, if you know about if we were to die tomorrow, or we were to die now, what would we do? The most we will do only most important thing. We won't do which is not sensible. We will not do any nonsense things. All we care about is one of the most sensible things and which is more important. So therefore, if we reflect upon the death, then it becomes so awaken us to do what is right, what is more positive, and what is more important. Therefore, it is very important for us to reflect upon the death.
那为什么我们要讲死的中音呢？是因为若是我们不谈这个死的中音或死亡中音的话呢，临终中音的话呢，我们不会预备我们什么是重要的，那我们会做一些无聊的事情。但如果我们谈中音的话，我们就不会把时间花在一些没意义的无聊的事情上，我们会做是对的，是重要的事情。所以因此我们谈死亡中音。
birth of death. Sometimes people talk about why need to talk about the birth of death. We don't need to talk about the birth of death because we don't believe in it. But the question here is, it is not a question of believing it or not. It is a question of whether the birth of death really exists or not. And we all have to face the death, the battle.
那有些人呢说，我们不应该谈这个临终中阴，我们不相信有这回事。但其实并不是说我们不相信，不存在啊，是问我们应该问我们自己，这临终中阴是确实有这一回事吗？啊。
So like when we have to face the birth of death, then like doesn't matter if you try to close your eyes, close your ears, not to think about, not to talk about the birth of death. But the death is sure to come. It is certain that you're bound to face the death. So therefore, better we prepare for that. We try to understand what is the reality behind the death.
那我们说，我们应该面对这个死亡的中因，因为死亡是确定的，是肯定的。那所以我们应该好好的为这个死亡的阶段呢做预备工作。
So then, so when we talk about the death, then sometimes people, as we have said, people ignore the death, to think about the death, to listen about the death, and to see the death. It's, they avoid, but you cannot avoid the death. It's bound to happen. Sooner or later, you're bound to happen the death, the birth of death. Then therefore, it's better to prepare when you are alive, and when you have an opportunity, or when there is a teacher, or when there is a master's, or and when you have this kind of opportunity, we should take care of it and prepare for the death. And as you talk about the death, again here, so like actually, when you enter into the mother's womb, from there itself, the death starts. Because from minute after minute, you are going towards the end of your life. You're going towards the death. So for this purpose, some great masters also said that from the moment you enter into the mother's womb, you start aging and you start dying. So now Now the question arises, what happens when you die? In Buddhism, when you die physically and you die mentally. Two things are there. So when you talk about the you die physically and you die mentally, then it talks about it started shutting down your senses, outer senses, that is earth, air, water, fire, and wind, and also inner senses, that is the sense of eyes, ears, nose, mouth, all these started to shut down. To this, it started to dissolve within. So when it dissolves, like when the earth this dissolves, the earth elements dissolves, what happens is our body becomes so weak and we couldn't able to carry our body. And when the water dissolves, then we have a experience of drying our mouth, drying our nose and our ears, and also, this kind of things. And when we dissolve our fire elements, then the warmness of our body disintegrates or it dissolves. And in the same way, when it dissolves our air within our body, our body becomes so light, feeling light, and so on and so forth.
应该讲我们身体开始软弱无力，那我们不能承受，不能我们连我们自身的体重呢都感觉到是沉重的。当我们的第二水大融入的时候呢，我们觉得是口鼻子都开始干。接着呢是火的融入，火融入的时候，我们的身体呢就开始失去了暖，就开始觉得冷然后接着是气风大的融入。
So this is the outer dissolutions of our body. Usually, like these our outer, that is kind of the genes, of which has been come from our mother and father, and composite of the 5 aggregates: fire, air, water, wind, and all this energy comes together and which compose our body. So when our body disintegrates, this is the outer form of dying. So usually in the modern time, when we talk about this person is dead, that means he was just clinically dead, proof as the clinically dead. That is when he was died from the outer dissolutions takes place. But as far as Buddhism, he is still not considered as dead, because still the inner dissolutions takes place. That is the inner senses takes place. After the dissolution of the outer 5 elements, then inner sense also disintegrates. And when the inner sense disintegrates, there comes three happy together that is known as Nawa, Cheba, and Toba. Nawa, Cheba, Toba is a name in Tibetan, but in the first, when it disintegrates the inner sense, then like there comes a kind of moonlight from the outside. You feel the outside appearances as moonlight, but inner is kind of smoky feelings, appearances of smoky, and outside is kind of the moonlight. This means a nawa, the first dissolutions of the inner senses.
开始的败坏。那五大呢就开始五温呢就是组合了成我们的身体，这身体呢开始败坏。那这是身体上的一种死亡，医学上所讲的死亡是这种身体的死亡，那这是外在的一种消融，但佛教徒呢就不说这是真正的死亡，佛教徒说内在的感官呢都开始败坏的时候呢，这样才是真正的死亡。那这死亡中阴呢有分，也可细分为脑瓦、切瓦跟陀巴。那第一阶段脑瓦呢？当这阶段开始的时候呢，我们外在呢是显为像是月光一般的明亮，但内在呢却有一种像是烟雾弥漫的一种感觉。这是 Nawa， 也就是第一个临终的一种显现。
So now the second appearances, then when it comes to the second appearances, then there comes a feeling, inner feeling is like kind of the fireflies, a light like in the darkness, there comes like fireflies. And the outside is kind of the sunshine coming there. So then this is known as the cheba, means then also at this time, all the thoughts, perceptions which are related with the attachment, the 33 attachment were dissolved in the second. So then in the third appearances, and the third appearances, there comes like a kind of for the outer sign, outer appearances, like a sunlight. Outer appearances is like a eclipse, when the sun and the moon were almost shadowed by the eclipse. So this kind of darkness on the outside. But the inner is like a kind of the eclipse, and the inner is like a sunshine, a little bit.
那第三个阶段的时候呢，死亡的第三个阶段呢，我们则会觉得好像外在的显现，犹如 日食般日食那样子的感觉，而内在呢，却是一种黑暗，虽是内在是像阳光一般的明亮。
So now the third one is like inner is like a burning a lamp, and the outside inner appearances is like a burning a lamp, and outside is like a kind of overshadowing like an eclipse. So therefore, these kind of three appearances comes one by one. That is the inner dissolutions takes place within when we die.
那第三个显现呢，就有如在黑暗中点亮一盏灯一般。那这三个阶段的三个显现呢，一个接一个的会显现。
So these are the inner dissolutions. So we have the outer dissolutions, that is earth dissolves into the water, water dissolves into the fire, fire dissolves into the air, and air dissolves into space, and so on and so forth. And outer is that, the appearances that dissolves one after the another. These three appearances happens one after the another. So in the first appearances, our like 33 conceptions related with our hatred dissolves together, and in the second, the 40 dissolves together. Then in the third one, the ignorant, which is related with the ignorant, the seven kind of conceptions which related with the ignorance also dissolves.
那这个再重复一下当我们死亡的时候呢，外在呢我们会有感觉到土大融入水大，水大融入火大，火大融入气大，气大在风大，风大再融入空大，空之中。那接着呢就是三个显现三种显现。那三种显现呢一个接一个的出现。在第一个显现当中呢，我们会察觉到跟嗔恨心有关的概念呢消融掉，然后接着呢是执着的贪爱的心有关的这种概念呢消融掉接着呢是七种跟无明有关的概念呢消融掉，这便是第一个死亡阶段显现的时候所能感觉到的领受到的境界。
So then when the outer and inner dissolutions completes, then it's known as the death. And what happens the death is that the essence of the father, that is the father's semen and mother's blood, father's semen which resides here in our brain comes down to the heart, towards the heart, and the mother's blood which comes upward from the navel chakra up to the heart level. Then when these two things meet together, merge together in our heart, that means like when all the senses and all the elements dissolves, then what happens is at that time, the mother, essence of the mother and father meets at our heart. Then when it meets together, then we become like a fainted. Then that is known as the death. That time we don't realize, we become dead. That is the point. That is the moment we call it a death. It's known as death.
所以当我们外在跟内在的种种呢消融掉的时候呢，才是真正的死亡。当这些外在跟内在消融之后呢，我们身体内的父亲从父亲那边得到的精华呢，也就是白菩提呢，就从脑部那边降下到心间，而从母亲那边得到的精华呢，就是这个卵子那边呢，就从脐部这边、脐轮这边上升到心间。当这两者在心间愈合的时候呢，我们则会晕掉，我们失去了知觉，此刻是真正的死亡。
So this is known as death. Then what happened right after death? Then we become fainted, and only the person who have a practice during the lifetime, who has a very good experience, like the masters or the great yogi, they could able to remember. They could able to remember what, and so because most of the sentient beings, they get lost here. When you die, they're out of awareness. Then there's no awareness. It becomes like a darkness, and we get lost there. So now here, what happened is we get fainted. We don't know, and we get fainted in darkness for 3.5 days. It takes 3.5 days to come back. So most of the people, they can come back, and after 3.5 days, only then they can come back. So that time, at that moment, at that point of moment, what happened is you have a feeling of more spacious, clear space, clear sky. Then you have a feeling of the dawn in the morning when the sun was about to shine. So these kind of feeling for a split second, that is known as the innate Buddha nature. That time, there is no any emotions, there is no any kind of the perceptions and conceptions, because all the perception, conception cease there. Now here is only a pure mind. That happens only for a split second. So if you have studied about the innate nature of Mahamudra or in the past, during your lifetime, during when you are in life, you studied well, you practiced well, then that time you would able to recognize that innate nature. So then therefore it is known as mother and the son meeting. The son is when you study about the Mahamudra, the illusions, or clear light or whatever. But when this happens, when you see that clear nature, the luminosity of your mind there, This is what we talk about innate nature, Buddha nature, or the luminosity. So then this is known as the mother and son meeting, because your very nature is the mother, and what you studied in the past is the sunlight, because it's not actually the real nature, but you are studying there. So this is known as the sun. And when actually you see that clear light of your mind, innate nature of your mind, then that time when you recognize that, then that time you become enlightened also. And this state is also known as the Dhammakaya, because you are able to recognize that ultimate state. So therefore it's known as the Dhammakaya. So then if we couldn't recognize, then we missed the great opportunity during the time of death. So this is a very great opportunity, Why? Because what happened is when you die and when your sense come back, then that time you already stop all these kind of senses, but you have a pure sense. That is the innate nature of your mind is coming. And the split second, then if you couldn't recognize that mind, then what happens is then you go into the bardo. Then the bardo of existence start. Now, then this very particular bardo is known as the bardo of innate nature. Then within a split second, then we go into the bardo of existence or bardo of becoming. So now we have been to the birth of death and birth of innate nature. And after the split second, then we enters into the birth of existence. Then what happened? Then all these, which is related to your emotions, which has been stored in your mind stream, all the imprints, the propensities of your life in the past, what you have done, this will sprout out now. So therefore, when we are alive, we need to study about the illusory body. We need to study about all these kind of dreamlike state, and we need to study about the all things and events empty nature. Why? Because if we have a good understanding of this nature, understanding of the empty nature of everything, then what happens is during the birth of existence, whatever comes, whatever the appearances comes towards you, you will not grasp, will not fixate it. Then your mind will be free. You're not in problem. Otherwise, you would be in problem. So now, when you are in problem, now see, since you are in the birth of existence, you might be having a different kinds of feelings, different kind of appearances that come to you, and you take it as real. And these are actually not real. These are just reflections of your mind. But you see all these ferocious deities. Sometimes you see the landslides. Sometimes you see the fluctuation of the ocean or water or whatever. So these are all the, like, actually that time is the reflections of our mind. But if you know these are the reflections of your mind, then there is an opportunity that you can enlighten also. And during that time, even if you couldn't recognize that this is the innate, this is just the reflection of your mind, but if you have a practice during the time when you are alive, practice of the generation stage and completion stage, then you can also practice that. And from this practice, through this practice, there is a chance, there is a possibility that you can enlighten. And this enlightenment here during this stage is known as the Sambhogakaya. Because you can practice like, for example, you can practice like Amitabha, you can practice like Avalokiteshvara. And what happens is when you do the practice during that time, your mind is refrained from anger, refrained from jealousy, refrain from all this kind of fear and anxieties. So therefore, your mind is served as peace and happiness and stable, more stable there. So, so when we talk about these existence of the body, so all things happens according to your own reflections, own imprints that you have been stored in your mind stream. So these are the reflections of your mind. So therefore, during the time of when you are alive, you have to practice a positive things, positive energy, which can give a reflections in these kind of give the consequences in the existence of body. So for example, when we talk about the dream, we think that in the dream is true. And the dream and death is almost same. They are they are twin brothers. So when you are in sleep and when you are in death, when you are sleeping, it's almost like a death. Then what happens, according to your own imprints of your mind, you have a different kind of dreams, reflections. And in the dream, you think that is true. Whereas when you awaken, you think it's not, it's just the dream. In the same way, in the birth of existence, exactly the same thing happens there. Because of your mind stream, because of the reflection of your mind, you suffer. Sometimes you see a ferocious people, the deities. Sometimes you see a very ferocious situation, the volcano, the floods, and all these things, and you suffer. This is how you suffer for 49 days.
有种种的遭遇显现，但这毕竟还是相续中的反射，新的反射。我们可能觉得痛苦觉得慌张很恐怖敢见到大河水冲流等。
So now, what is like then how to overcome these? Because we are in a difficult situation now, we are in trouble. Then the only one which can overcome is if you have an imprint of the positive energy, and at the same time, like for example, if you were aware, if we were to able to aware that this is just the reflections of our mind, then if you were to able to aware that these are just illusions of dream life, then that time one could see the innate nature of our mind. That means one could able to overcome. Once you realize that, oh, this is just a dream, oh, this is just a reflection of our mind, then there's no fear at all. All the fear vanish, all the problem vanish, because these are just the illusion. But we don't know that time. And during the birth of existence, we think that these illusions are real, and we have a grasping and we have fixation for that. So that's why we are in trouble. So like now these kind of conditions, if you have learned the power, and if you have learned how to like practice the generation stage and the completion stage, then here, even if you are not able to recognize that this is just a reflection of your mind, but at least if you remember your deities, your yidam, and try to find a protection from them, go refuge for them, and try to practice the generation and completion stage, this will also help you to lead you to up to certain extent that for a better life, and try to do, for your mind to keep in peace, and try to able to achieve certain extent of peaceness in your mind.
能具足的话，当然非常好。比如说此生当中，若是有修行破瓦法，或者是有修升起次第、圆满次第，那就算在法性中阴当中，或者是有中阴当中呢，没能认知 万物的本质的话呢，还是能因为我们此生当中的修行呢，向本尊求皈依求庇佑、求保佑这样子这些修行呢，也会帮助我们去到一个更好的下一世那至少它能把我们的心保持平和宁静。
So like then, if you if even if you don't like able to go up to such an extent, like for the higher state, but at least you can practice. Like for example, kind of four also you can do here. If you have a good experience of four practice and yidam practice, then here you can do that practice, utilize this, and you can extend your heart, or you can transfer your mind to certain extent, that is the Amitabha Buddha or such celestial palace, and from there you can receive the teachings from them and you can enlighten yourself. This is also possible there. The possibility is there if you really practice and if you really know the badus and the state of death and all this. Yes. And it takes like a 49 days to get you rebirth into the cyclical existence. Actually, it is stated that sometimes someone will uh, uh, like take birth every 7 days in the Badu from 7 days. Therefore, every 7 days we have a puja and so forth and so on. And it takes up to 49 days. And after 49 days, then we take birth into the like samsara. That is the sixth cyclical existence. And during that time, before you take rebirth, we have a feeling, we have appearances of sometimes we're getting into the like kind of the flower or tree. Sometimes we're getting into very dangerous places. Sometimes we're getting like kind of, taking shelter in the tree or something like that. So that time, these are all the like appearances of where we are going to be born. So now that time also, we have another one more chance. That is to choose your birthplace, where to be born. And if you are aware of where we are, if you are aware of that death process and the Bada process, then you can avoid all these kind of the birthplace, and you can find the better birthplace intentionally choosing by yourself with your own willingness to do that. Otherwise, then you would be like the feather of the birds blown away by the wind of the karma, blown away by the wind of the propensities that you have stored in your mind. So then it's blown away here, there, then you don't have a power. You have, because you don't realize that. So if you realize that, and then you can choose your birth, your womb intentionally, and by through understanding the Badu and understanding that all the Badu, then you can choose where to born and all this. And this kind of opportunity is known as the Nirmana Kaya. So this is how you can choose your birth, even in the time, even in the state of Badu, that you feel that, oh, this is not place to go in. So rather I can choose this, rather I can choose that. So rather I can choose to the Buddha Amitabha and so on and so forth. And you can being born there. So this is the choosing your, what do you say, the birthplace. So therefore, we talk about the tilkus, who tilkus, reincarnate lamas or rinpoches, who can choose where to be born. So intentionally they come. They're not like a sentient being like us who come in because of the, just the blown away by the wind and all these things. So then also it's very important during our lifetime, when we have an opportunity, when we have a power, we should practice. We should practice the generation stage and completion stage, like practice of the Avalokiteshvara, Amitabha Buddha, or whatever the practice. Because when you do this kind of practice, you have imprints in your mind. Then you become familiar with these kind of deities. Then when you have a difficult situation, this kind of like in the dreamlike state or like a battle, then you can fully utilize and you can take advantage, the benefit from this, enormous benefit from it. Otherwise, then you become like a blind and you don't know what you do. Then you are drifted away by the wind of the negative forces. Then it become then it will take to the negative thoughts. And this is how you are being born in the cyclical existence, like animal beings, hungry ghost, and so on and so forth. Then that's how you suffer. And we again come to the cycle of cyclical existence, rebirth in the process of the cyclical existence. So therefore, it is very important to do a practice when we have an opportunity, when we have a time and energy. Then, and it is stated that if we practice a little bit also during the time of life, then during the time of the birth of existence, then you have it impacts a lot. It helps a lot. Why? Because the sentient beings in the realm or the birth of existence are so powerful. Why? Because they have only the body of the mind. They don't have a physical body as like us, but they have a physical, that's a mind body. So that's why when they travel, they're so super fast. They can travel so fast. And here and there they go with the wind of their driving force of their karma. Then, because they don't have this body. And it is also stated that they have a mind to understand some people's mind up to such extent. But these are all elusive delusions and so forth and so on, because they don't realize that. And since they don't realize this power, they are constantly in trouble, constantly in problem, and they are suffering a lot. and it is stated that these beings who are in the bath of existence can instantly grow from one place to another in no time, because they only have the mind. So they have super fast moving here, there. Only the Vajrasana, that is means the throne of the Buddha. When you become enlightened, only the Vajrasana is there. That is the throne of the Buddha. And the mother's womb, you cannot enter. Because in order to enter there, you need to have a special, the relations, links, the karmic relations. So you can, only these two, except these two, that's mother's womb and the Vajrasana. These sentient beings, these creatures will pass first, and they can arrive and they can reach anywhere just by thinking with the mind. So therefore, if you practice a little bit during the time when you're alive, then there is a possibility to utilize that energy, that power. Otherwise, again, you miss out. And again, you are in the cyclical process of suffering. Yes. So therefore, so whenever we have a time and energy, we have a time and opportunity during our lifetime, we should not miss that point. And like sometimes people are saying, one day everybody has to die. Everyone has to die. So what is there to worry about? But the point is that if you don't know the death, and if you are not prepared for death, then when you die, you suffer a lot. You suffer even in the battles of existence. And if you are being born as the animal, then with the ignorant mind, you have no opportunity to practice the Dharma. So therefore, then you multiply all this negative karmic residual impact in your life. So then you circle round and round in the process of cyclical existence, and you suffer a lot. So therefore, when you have an opportunity, when you have an like kind of a opportunity, and you have a Dharma teacher, and when you have this kind of energy to do that, then you should practice. Even for a little bit practice, it will help a lot immensely during the birth of existence.
就算是一点点的修行，也对我们帮助非常极大。
So therefore, like say, for example, the great yogi and the great practitioner who have a very great deal of experience during the time when they're alive, then they have no problem at all because they realized and they're aware of all this kind of process, and they can go with the flow. Even if you die, there's no fear for them. Even in the Badu, there's no fear for them. And they see the reality of these. But if we don't recognize, or if we don't have this kind of awareness, then we suffer. And in Buddhism, we talk about it is a matter of you aware, and you don't aware of the reality.
没有这样子的智慧的话呢，他们便会如我们一般痛苦。但因为他们了悟所有万法的实相，所以没有这样子的痛苦。
So now here the key point is awareness now. Even if you're, see, usually what happens is like ordinary person like us, we are awakened, but we are still dreaming. And the great person like yogis and well-practiced great masters, even in the sleep, they were awakened. Even in the dream, or even in the like sleep, they are awakened. And even if they are died, they are awakened, they are alive, they are living a life. They are living a full life because they are aware of what the process are going on. They can go through all this kind of process because they study about it, they practice it. So they have a life going on, show. And all the, after the death, all this, what you say about the badus are just a show. It's not reality. They can see as a show because they're aware of all these things. Whereas for us, ordinary people, we suffer and we suffer. Okay, so now we can stop here, and any questions, we can just discuss try to talk about the question and answers. So today we have finished like kind of all the 6 Badu in a very brief, and it depends upon how well you study and you bring up yourself and try to practice and try to make yourself familiar with the knowledge of these Badus. And more you make familiar, more you become like, like well aware of these incidents that may happen in the Badu, and also during the death, and also during the birth. So then it will help you a lot. And this is the, what happens after the death. Uh, it's a great knowledge, actually. Just by hearing it makes you awaken, enlighten. For me personally, it's a big thing, you know, because even right now, the science and technology couldn't figure out the mind. And we are talking about the life after death, beyond the mind and matter. So we are talking about the death. It is, of course, a great knowledge, you know, and we are so blessed that we have this knowledge still. We have this knowledge. So should be very happy and we should rejoice over it. We never know when we are going to die and we can have the second chance or not.
Good evening, Khenpo. I have a question.
Yes.
Okay, I'm referring to the practice of naturally liberating everything. Let's say if I'm the Buddha of innate nature and Buddha of existence and Buddha of becoming, and I naturally liberate everything, remaining the natural state of my mind. And for example, when I reach the womb entrances and I see the celestial mansions, then of course I am not attracted to them. I remain, you know, naturally liberating and in my natural state of mind and so on. After that situation where I encounter the womb entrances and I am not attracted to them, what happens after that?
After that, then when you are aware, then it goes on, the different show coming up and going on there until you take the, you know, like, but you have to be realized. You have to realize, oh, you're in this stage. I'm here. You have to be aware that I'm here and I'm going this way, I'm there. Every minute, every moment becomes your enlightenment towards the enlightenment, slowly, slow flow. But within a split second, if you think, oh, that's good, and if you attach to that, or if that is good, if you attach to that, then your mind goes on. Because what happened is during the Bhadra time, the person's mind becomes so powerful because they don't have body, they only have a mind, and mind goes in an instant.
Yes, Khenpo.
Yeah, yes.
Sorry, Khenpo, sorry. Okay, I remain undistracted and in my natural state and the show goes on. Will there be a time where the show actually stops and then, you know, I'm enlightened? I mean, for example, I need some guidance there.
Yeah, of course, you are kind of enlightenment there. And because since you are still in Badu, you're trying, you have an enlightened state, you know, up to that, because the show will not affect you.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, show will not affect you. That means you are already enlightened, coming towards the, you know, like enlightenment. And some like I cannot say this is 100% enlightenment, but you are the way towards the enlightenment.
Yes, Khenpo. So
yes.
If I am faithful and I persevere in this remaining in the natural state and naturally liberating and so on, will there be a time where the show or movie will stop? Is there such a thing?
What movie or show stop, you mean?
Yeah, because it's like a show or a movie and I remain undistracted and unaffected. And then will there come a point in time where the movie will stop? I'm just
will stop. Yeah. Actually, once you realized, when you're enlightened there, the movie stops automatically. Because what happened is all these are the residual impact of your mind. And once you realize slowly, then once you become so, your mind is become so pure, then there's no any show. Because that's enlightenment. There's a pure clarity of your light. That becomes the luminosity of your mind, you know, the clarity, the innate nature of your mind is pure from all the distractions, fabrications, and so on and so forth. So therefore, there's no show at all. Now, this is just a piece there.
Yes. Okay, thank you, Khenpo. Thank you.
Ampola, there are
Yes.
questions at the chat box here.
Yeah.
One of them is during the process, when will we get to see the colors of the lights? And then the various colors, do they have any meaning attached to it?
Oh, yes, yes, yes. So like, see, when you see the colors are very important that I forgot to tell in the beginning. When it dissolves, when your dissolution takes place, all the 5 rainbow color comes. Why? And it comes one after the another first in the beginning. Why? Because the 5 elements, 5 earth, air, water, fire, and space. These are all the 5 kinds of elements, okay? And these 5 elements, when it transforms, it gives a light, and it's a kind of clear rainbow light colors comes there. So, and also these 5 color can be our inner 5 wisdom. That is the, the 5 Buddhas and 5 wisdoms. And what happens is when, but we don't recognize that. When it dissolves into one another, so then in the outcome of that is the 5 color, one after the another. So then, like, even the 5 Buddhas color and the 5 wisdom color, and so on and so forth. So see, when we talk about the rainbow color, when you become the fully enlightened, when you become a rainbow, rainbow state. What is the rainbow state now? Why do we have to have rainbow state? Because when your 5 elements were in the equilibrium, when the 5 elements were in the equally, harmonious state, then you have a rainbow light color. Otherwise, you cannot see also. Even if you see that, you miss it out. So therefore, then these highly realized masters can only actualize or only realize that. But rainbow colors is not out of us. It's just the reflection of our 5 energies, and the 5 positive energies. That's loving kindness, compassion, forgiveness, freedom, and wisdom. All these things have to be the quality of that. Is it made clear? Is that clear?
Maybe it's good to have the translators to do the translations.
Yeah, okay.
The questions
Okay.
and your answers too. So brothers,
Okay.
maybe you can just translate the questions and the answers so that our brother and sisters can answer them, can understand them.
问答的时候，他就说到，今天的这个教法呢，有机会听到是非常有福分的，它是个非常具有加持的知识很好的知识，其实是属于文解脱的一种法叫科学虽然知道很多东西，但他并不了解心是什么一回事。那今天我们讲的这个死亡过程呢，非常深奥但有机会听到，随喜大家这个功德也福分
Nampola, yes, I think
Yes.
Brother Lukwang has already finished his translation.
Okay.
Go to the next question. This question says, can you please talk about the various appearances that we will come across when we are in the Bardo stage? And what do
问题
these
说，可不可以讲一
appearances
些这些显现？
mean actually? Okay,
Sorry, I couldn't hear.
Khenpo, I'll repeat the question again.
Okay, okay.
Can you please talk about the various appearances that will come across during the Bardo stage? And what is the meaning of these so-called appearances? What do they mean? Because we wish to recognize and maybe choose to avoid them. Before you answer, Khenpo, maybe let the translator brothers and sisters do the translation first.
Setting siapa, Let?
Khenpo, maybe you can
Yes.
you can talk about your answers.
Okay, okay. See, like all the appearances actually are the product of our mind. As we have said, if we talked earlier, I talked earlier, that whatever the appearances comes in our Bardo time, that is actually what we happens, what the incidents we do during the lifetime and all these things. And also if you go for the deeper level, then there comes like a different kind of deities coming there. And that is, we don't really recognize that. So because actually these are all kind of our reflection of our mind, then we don't recognize that. And sometimes they are coming a ferocious deities, then we are scared of. Sometimes they are, the peaceful deities, then we don't recognize all these things. And we have to, when we recognize these are the nature of our mind, these are the just reflections of our mind, then what happens is you have to have the awareness to at least understand, at least aware that these are the just reflection of our mind. And it depends upon how well you practice, how well you are aware of it, all these things. Otherwise, again, you miss the point. And, then there are like kind of deities comes like, the 49 days you're in the Bardo, then there comes in the Shito or something like that, then there are little slight difference of what are the deities coming about and all these things. Yeah. But very point is that you need to be aware of, your mind, reflection of your mind. And this one, you need a lot of practice also. It's not that easy because we are talking about the subtlest level of your mind. Even for a dream, we cannot even to recognize or recall the dream also. But of course, when we talk about Bardo or death, we are going much, much subtler there. Yeah, I hope so. Got it.
We allow our brothers to finish their translation first.
Okay.
一下，那但其实这些种种显现呢，毕竟还是我们自心的心的反射，所以若是能觉知知道这些种种显现，不论是美好的或者是恐怖的等等，这些微细的显现呢，都是我们心微细部分的反射。如果是我们不执着，那便就是有机会证悟。
Okay, Khenpo, we'll go to the next question. There's this question. If we do achieve enlightenment during the Bardo stage, this state of enlightenment, right, something that we actually need to put
那
it to
明天
maintain.
的课程跟今天的课程不一样，明天的课程 Zoom 是另外一个Zoom 房。
Hear you. Can you repeat it?
Khenpo,
Yes.
the question again.
Yeah.
If we do achieve enlightenment during Bardo stage, is this enlightenment stage a stage where we need to actually put in effort to maintain it? Or is it actually some kind of a destination point?
Actually, see, like actually in the beginning, really we need an effort. We need an effort to do that. And like the person like us, we need an effort to practice and to remember, because, you know, to remember or to aware that it's not that easy. You definitely need an effort, unless you have become effortless effort. So some yogis, you know, they have an effortless effort because they practice this and the whole life, and they are the master of these, master of it. So these kind of people, they don't need any effort, but naturally they can do that. But for the person like us, or the lower capacity person, we definitely need some kind of effort, otherwise not possible.
师兄问的问题呢是说我们
We need to maintain the, you know, the balance or the awareness.
保持的这个
All right, Khenpo, the next question. When we realize the innate nature, does it mean that we have already achieved the ultimate enlightenment? When we realize the innate nature, does it mean that we have already realized the ultimate enlightenment?
So like, you know, like here, when you realized the innate nature in a direct vision, then of course, like you are enlightened there. But when you realized in a terms like just idea, that means you are not fully enlightened, but you are close to that. You're close to the enlightenment. Because when you realized in a direct vision only, then you know realized innate nature. That means you're awakened already. So see, enlightened man is actually awakened, the fully awakened one.
因认知法性的时候呢，是不是说我们就已经证悟了？
What people say is like, when you die, it's finished. There's nothing there. But as far as the Buddhism, when you die, there's a lot of opportunities. If you prepare for that, a lot of opportunity to enlightenment. But if you're not prepared, then no point. Even if you die, then you die, just simply die. So if you prepare, then during the time of process of the death, then there comes a lot of opportunities to enlightenment.
Khenpo, we wait for our translator brothers to finish translating this.
Okay.
Khenpo, we go to the next function. So,
Okay.
This, when we realize this innate nature,
Yes.
we sort of like realize this enlightenment. So this enlightenment, will we lose it? And under what situation we actually loses it?
What we lose it?
Okay, when we actually realize this innate nature, we gain some kind of enlightenment. So this kind of enlightenment, will we actually lose it? Is there anything that will come in where we will lose it and then we becomes an ordinary being again? Despite
so see, like sometimes when you're not fully, this is a kind of a split second. What happens is like, when you lit a light, when you light it, it will burn down the whole thing, yeah? Then it depends upon like how you are enlightened. Sometimes if you are just being in the state of nirvana, sometimes you come back and you help sentient beings coming back in the form of human being, and it's up to you because you have the potential now. You have the capabilities because you are aware, and it depends upon you where you want to go and where you want to be and all these things. Because even if you come to in the samsara being, you will not come as a samsara like us, but he will come as like a teacher, like a master, just try to teach sentient beings from the dharmakaya state, then, but in this, it's fully realized person. At the same time, he's realized and he will come and help and support, and all these things are there, possibilities there.
Okay, Khenpo. We go to the next question. You mentioned that sleeping and death, they are like twin brothers. So does it mean that sleeping is a good time to practice the death experience? Then, if it's really
问题是
the
说
opportunity to do it,
睡眠、梦境跟死亡是如
what is the best way to actually so-called make good use of this time just before our sleep? What is the best thing that we can do? Okay, Khenpo, I repeat the question again. All right, because you mentioned
Yes.
that sleeping and death, they are like twin brothers. So does it mean that sleeping will be a good opportunity for us to practice death? And if it's so, then maybe before we actually so-called go to sleep every day, every night, then what is the best practice that we can actually do at a period of time so that we can actually use this opportunity to practice it, you know?
Mhm. Yes, as I said earlier, we have a practice of dream yoga in the, like 3 years retreat. Then when you do the like 3 years retreat, when you do the dream yoga practice, you try to sleep and try to do the dream, practice. You try to realize in dream, which is very difficult, because what happens is when you sleep, you fall asleep. Then you become ignorant again. Then it's very difficult to maintain that sleeping state awake. So in the same way, it's of course, even in the daytime, we say we are sleep awakened. We are awake at the same time we are sleeping there, because we are daydreaming. We say, usually we talk about it. See, even even the daytime, we are like asleep. But for the great masters like the Yogi and Milarepa and so forth, even in the sleep, they were awake. Even in the dream, they were awake. They know, they feel that. But a person like us, even being awake, even in the daytime, we are like a sleeping guy, because we don't realize what we are doing in the daytime. So see, for example, I give you a small example. We might be doing many things, but we forgot what we do from morning until evening, but we are all awake. But at the same time, we don't remember what we did and what we done. So this means we are not awake. This means there's something, missing. That means we are still in dreaming state in the daytime also. And of course, like, the practicing the dream yoga is also a big thing, it helps a lot. And also practicing the dream yoga in the daytime, try to realize that, how we are dreaming. Sometimes our minds goes here, is there, all these things, and we don't know what we are doing. That means we are daydreaming, waking. So therefore, it definitely helps, when we reflect upon this one, it will help a lot. The question?
Khenpo, we've let our brothers finish the translation first.
Okay.
Khenpo,
Yes.
the next question, what we see and experience during Bardo, it will not be the same for everybody, right? So does it mean that one who has got less lesser attachment during their lifetime will actually see lesser things and therefore be less distracted.
Can you repeat it again?
Okay, Khenpo, the question is, what we see and experience during the bardo can't possibly be the same for everyone. So does it mean that for a person who is actually has got lesser attachment during his lifetime, does it mean that what he see and experience during bardo will be lesser? And because of that, maybe he will be less distracted.
Yeah, experience of different people have a different experiences according to their own attachment, hatred, and ignorance. There, according to the three poisons they accumulated in their lifetime. And as I said, it is just the reflection of their mind. So therefore, depending upon their mindsets, how they live in their life, so they are bound to face according to their imprints of which has been stored in their mind stream. Of course, there's a difference, different people. If you have too much of kind of attachment or hatred or ignorant, then definitely then you could see that reflections. And all the people have not had the same reflections, different reflections comes.
So Khenpo, we wait for our translator brother to finish the translation first.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, Khenpo, the next question.
Yes.
So during the bardo stage, after we recognizes the deities, so what will happen thereafter? Once we actually recognizes them, what will happen thereafter?
So when you recognize these are the reflection of our mind, and these are the deities of our mind, the reflections of our mind, then what you see is you can just see it as a show. It's not really true there. It's just a reflection of our mind. Then what happens is you will not get scared if that is ferocious deity or something like that. Then what happens is if you're not scared, then more stable you are and more peaceful you will be. Then it will help you. Then the less problematic you will be there, because you are not in fear, because you know this is just a reflection of your mind, and you can go with the flow, and it doesn't matter, because it's like a dream. As I said, if you don't recognize it's your reflections of your mind, then you get scared there, then you feel distracted, then you suffer. This is how how you should free from yourself from that. And these are all illusion. It's not actually existing outside there. It is just the illusion, dreamlike, or just the manifestations of the reflections of your mind. That means you are closer with the truth, the nature of reality. When you realize that, you're closer with the truth of nature, reality. Because if you have a fixation or if you have grasping that it is substantially there, solid there, this, that, then what happens is you get into the trap again in the grasping. And that's how you suffer again.
The next question, Khenpo, you mentioned that without the burden of this body, we are something like a super being during the Bardo stage itself. So seems like to me, the most important thing is to realize the need to do the practice. So would there be a situation whereby we recall the need to do a practice, but we wouldn't know what to do? Because most practices are actually very lengthy practices. So does it mean that naturally we'll know what to do as long as we can recall?
See, it's not that easy because, like we need to practice, otherwise not easy. Actually, you see, our mind has been already collapsed in the other way around, in the negative thoughts and emotions. So we need to bring our mind into the positive thoughts and emotions, and also the practice. We need to strive, because once the imprint is put, in our mind stream, it is very difficult to eradicate. For our bodies, okay, you can wash it, but for our mind, you need a wisdom mind, otherwise very difficult. So therefore, you need to give a special attention. It's not that easy, but also it's not that difficult. But if you practice well, so you can overcome that. But it's not something like magic, it happens like, without doing anything. It happens something like that. It will not happen like that. You need to strive, you need to practice, you need to understand, and all this, And see, we have a great opportunity. That's why the human being are known as the precious human life. Why? Because we still have the guru, teacher, the teachings of the Buddhas are there. We still have some problem, but some problems really, reminds you to do the good thing, practice, and all these things. So even if you are being born in a God realm or something like that, then we don't remember the Dharma practice. Yeah.
Khenpo, we have come to the end of the question and answer session. Yes. Would you like to do the closing prayers?
So, James,
Yes, Khenpo.
we're just going to read once this the Bardo Seldet. So do you think everybody has it?
We did share it with the help of Sis Kim. Yes. But maybe, Khenpo, you can just do the recitation once, and then we try to follow.
Okay. Namo Mahamudraya. Chicken Juma Tabur Tuchin, Mother Juma, little Dabai, Pinyin Jumin, do Tenze Jumikola Chapsuchi, Jumel Legend Gimbo Kegin, Jumel Libetasu Semjin, Jumin Namilo, Musician Jumarango, Shabra Jingelo, Nuda Jumen, the Boris, Chadashin, Tua Kinchin, Senior Majeran, Shaba in Chiwa Lambo, Jingelo, Chisi Chi Nawa Gabani, Miso Ombong and Rebecca. So Yilna Chila Chitim, the Timber Shabra Jingelo, such a melon of Shilatimba. Legizon comes Kanakam Dale, Tunla to be Unis, Nature Lamdo Lombra Jingelo, Lamshe, Selatin Chiwoche. Now only be Kitty Shila, Nancy Tova Yes, Chambosh, Rimbaran, Shabra Jingelo. Now in the Dua Chitan, Dawashabra Shitan, Leisure, Tova. Some joke some garbage, Selantin, Tombra Jingelo, Chivin and the Mikirchi, Nimashara, the Leisure, Toba Shijugar was you. Shishin Dembe Simber Jingelo, Tivinanda, Badala, Chidan Alam doesn't tabu, Timoleju Toba Dingas. Yanda Dembe Simber Jingelo, Shiva Yesel Chamber service in another Tindra number tabula, Chita Charan Sharwatavi. Yesel Mabu Debra Jingelo, Delamine, Namshe Povan of the Tewa Minsam. So Manana, Nida Chulam Shalam Kanego over Jingelo. There's also many Nizim Miam, Midan Didunya Yidas. Kiwi Kigo can catch the power control sur Zingel, Gildenam Shepherd, Chamban, Rani Shiva machine, Roda, to Wasinjan in the Iches, Chadan Chiwa Cheber Jingel, Ombo Kinsalem, the Jew, Rirab Dojet and the Maying, Matukin Latome Davis, Tamji Jumar Shepherd Jingel, Nida Minam, Lila Dimam, Sambats and the Thompson Coroni, Ome Jarulun Kitavi, the Ransom Hotobra Jingelo, Sesu desire you chamacho, Children know the Masheris, Jishing Chowan, Nino Lambala. Tunara Moshe, record division to Sergio, the Mato, the Jabot, season, Hassan Kever Jervis in Yabashiwa Shever Jingle, Chedashi, Chima Pinchin, Rani Shiva in Bramoshi, Yimogachi, Chamet Service around the Chapu Shever Jingle, Bardo in Bershevis around their home. Then the Yeselgum, Laran Zunjuni do Gomba in Davichu Lecture or Jingle. Renil Jasus Nasils, the Lunjan Lamba Tabu, the Dudon Digital Lagis. Chini Randa Shever Jingelo, Kadonga de Yes, two Jimber. Yet until it in Tobol, GB Tosu Joso, Jasuzi Rana around Haru Shever Jingelo, Desha Shedan Timo, Legible. Marda Karmana Buchonala, Rani Hunam Rabu Jibes, Rana da Shever Jingelo, Kando Kiwi, the Sundu, Kama Sedan, Nabu, Sami Duri, the Yawa, Rimari, Lamarim Shever Jingelo. Shelme Kanda Labo de Chedan, Mabachuchote, Jimbes, Kaza Pame de Chunjun, Chadan Miseda for Jingel, Numa Chatin Chadan Gided, Pubo Dobodum Lasos, Chachi Juve, no Jujuna King and Shepherd Jingel, Sojimena, Chagi Kansan to Gayu, Nether Ramoshi in Jibo, Meva, Ning and the letter for Jingelo, Melda Gonkimis, Tadudum, Teshel did not roll at Ziginella Chava Kevis, Chadan Sevam Never Jingelo. Pamalas Kenneth Thomas, Chadan Michin, Jumashavan, Nelo Ramoshe, Tamba, Shiming, Okapra Jingel, Gildema, Keka, Lemban, Timbach and Kadin, they watch in the Gardinian God, College City that some Kewa Limberjingel, Kamata, the Indian energy. Teaching Chela to be Kelva and Seviation, Embassy, Sengage and Timber Junction, you do over Jella 70 channel, Chinny and Shin number about Machin's man about habit. Judra member de Shinjo Bra show.
도시시에 도시시에
Samba Kanda Sashi, but the dark Melan.
지반단 밤에 방향 권에 거도 배워 소남대 담지 신반에 저는 얘기가 제가 남시 바로 좀 이제 시페쇼를 좀
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Khenpo. And
Yeah,
thank
take
you very
care.
much to our translator brothers and sisters also for bringing the teachings to our other language speaking brothers and sisters. Brother and
Thank you.
sisters, you can actually unmute yourself and say a few words of thanks to Khenpo.
Thank you for the blessings.
Thank
What
you,
is that?
Khenpo.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you, Khenpo.
이제
Thank
켐보라 카틴체.
Bye bye.
Welcome.
Thank you, Khenpo. Good night.
Yeah, good night.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Bye.
much, Khenpo.
Bye bye.
Long life, Khenpo. Thank you
Welcome.
for teaching.
Đấy.
Thank you.
That's a
Welcome,
beautiful
everybody.
forma behind you.
Brother and sisters, the next
Thế là
lesson
lấy
will be next Friday, next Thursday. Next Thursday will be the next lesson. All right.
Yes.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
So take care and have a nice day, nice evening, nice
Thank
and
you.
good night, everybody.
Thank you, Brother James. Thank you, Chuk.
So take care and have a nice day and practice well.
You enjoy your dinner, please, Khenpo.
Okay, take care. Okay, thank you. Okay, bye-bye.
See you. Goodbye.
Bye.
Brother and sisters, tomorrow there's a teaching by Khenpo Rangdo on the Gongchik. If you need the details, the Zoom details, etc., please refer to Jokong Dhamma Chakra Center's Facebook page. You will be able to find it there. Thank you so much.